A few months ago, I asked God, to reveal my calling and my purpose in life, and I prayed and I waited. Basically, like, I've been trying to upload a video for the last, 5 days. And, oh, after the last upload, I continued to ask Jehovah, if it was his will for me to do this channel. Um, you know, uh, Jeremiah 23, verse 21 through 22 says, I did not send these prophets, yet they have run with their message. I did not speak to them, yet they have prophesied. Um, but if they had stood in my counsel, they would have proclaimed my words to my people and would have turned them from their evil ways and from their evil deeds. And, I can't tell you how many times that I've come across something where I'm just not quite sure, if it's genuine, and it almost has turned me away or made things harder for me to get close to God. I don't want to, you know, what I wanted this to be like. I've been keeping a diary for at least a year and a half now of every time God intervenes or gives me advice or wisdom, protection, a miracle happens, anything. For a year I have been documenting this, and finally I'm just like, look, this could help other people, I'm going to put this on YouTube. Um Several times I told Jehovah, look, if you don't want me doing this channel, all you have to do is say so, and I'll shut the bad boy down. I'll do it. Just let me know. That happened twice, okay? And, I never heard anything from him. So after no response, or what I perceived to be no response, I was just like, look, just give me confirmation. Can I please just have a solid confirmation, Jehovah's solid stamp of approval that this is your will? And I was outside walking the dog. Literally 10 minutes later, I take the dog's leash off, sit on the couch, pick up the phone, open up YouTube, and my girl Sid had just posted this short. And it was just you don't need another sign. I've calling you, I've chosen you for this. And I was just like, okay, cool. That's great. Confirmation, great. Basically over the next week or so, I had two really, really intense interactions with God, and wrote it all down, journaled about it, took my photographs, my little screenshots and whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to do my next testimony, really excited about it. But one of these events actually left me really, really shaken. And it had to do with the photo that was my very first upload, the mysterious photo of Jesus that just saved itself, in what was it, 2034 or something like that, and I'll make a separate video fully explaining those two interactions, because I never like to withhold a testimony. But it literally left me in a state of mental and emotional shock. My eyes were this big. I could not form any sentences in my mind, and I could not speak. Literally for over 24 hours. The Bible contains several examples of PTSD symptoms, after witnessing, one of Jesus's miracles. And the more I tried to like do more research and figure out like, more information about this photo, the more I couldn't come up with a logical explanation. And, at that point, like I absolutely like hit the ground, like, and freaked out. Like full blown panic attack, full blown just screaming because this doesn't make any sense. And for the record, like, I love the paranormal. I watch wartime stories, like there's a lot of, I love that stuff. And that's when I realized, this is all fun and games when you're watching somebody else, go through it. But like, it's a whole nother animal when you actually experience something that I would like classify as like paranormal or supernatural. And it was too much for me. So, for the record, I suffer from CPTSD. I'm not a medical expert, please don't like, look, I do not believe that CPTSD, complex PTSD, I don't believe that is recognized in the United States. But I believe in like Europe or somewhere else that complex PTSD is a thing. So I already struggle with severe, like trauma issues. I already, struggle, with all the symptoms, and when I realized that witnessing a miracle can mentally mess me up to where I'm in the bed for a day and a half, that's when I was just like, oh no, Jehovah, like, you must have the wrong person. Like, there's clearly... Okay, and so I was just like, okay, where have I seen this before? I said, no, I've seen this before. When Moses, had a stuttering problem, and he's sitting there telling God, like, no, like, you must have the wrong person. Like, I've got this issue. Like, I can't speak right. I get nervous. Like, how do you expect me to, like, speak to these people and lead these people? And, I mean, God got pretty angry, And, I mean, DreamWorks gives us this version of, like, somebody lost their temper, but, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. Like, and it was just, like, I was not pleasing God. Or it didn't seem as if I was pleasing God by bringing this up. It was just like, who made man's mouth? And I was just like, gotcha. Another thing is that documenting the Holy Trinity's like daily interactions was becoming overwhelming because of the sheer volume of content. I mean, like, and that's another thing. Once I started documenting this, and especially once I decided to put it on YouTube, that number just went into overdrive. I mean, like, it was testimonies, having multiple, like 6 or 7 testimonies a day for me to, and I mean, like, full of all the bells and whistles. I mean, like, I like to take my screenshots. I like the timestamps. I like, I like to unfold it like that because it's beautiful to me, to document it. But that's when I realized that it's like, okay, if somebody were to ask me, what has God or Jesus or the Holy Ghost done for you? I literally would have to tell them that it's so much. It's so much help, assistance, protection, wisdom, advice, guidance, even I love yous, that it's, I would literally, in order to be able to fully document this stuff, I mean, like, I need to hire people. I need to buy more equipment. I need to purchase software. I mean, like, it truly and honestly would become, I don't know, like, it would blow my circuits as, like, one human being to truly and honestly be able to thoroughly keep up with it all. But another thing that I noticed is that, like, once it was confirmed to me that I have called you to do this, I cannot tell you how, like, out of nowhere, Satan began to attack me like nobody's business. I'd wake up, I'd say, okay, it's time to start the video. Like, I'll have, let's see, I'll have, like, plenty of documented, miracles. Okay, we got plenty of content. Okay, it's already typed out. You know what I'm saying? Every time I would try to record a video, and I mean, a panic attack would hit me. I mean, every time I tried to do something, I mean, like, something would blow up in my face and absolutely drain all my energy and say, like, well, maybe tomorrow I can make another video. Maybe tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. Okay? So a week goes by. And I mean, this cycle is just going over and over and over and over and over. Okay? Like, I mean, I can't even tell you guys how much the devil has attacked me. Finally, this morning, my girl Sid uploaded this video talking about, I think it was a short actually, basically talking about how, the devil will basically, highlighting this experience that once you are in your calling, or once you're being obedient to God, the devil's going to be angry. The devil's going to do anything he can to stop you from doing what God called you to do. And honestly, like, that's why I'm not in my car. That's why I'm barely dressed. That's why I have no chapstick on. Like, that's why it's just like, this is what I got to do. Because, I mean, literally, that's the only thing to make the attack stop, was for me to just start recording. So, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for you guys being here. I am, gonna make it my absolute goal to upload and upload and upload. So, see you in the next upload.